You're listening to the Patriot Nation Podcast.
All right, welcome into another edition of the Patriot Nation Podcast, a proud member of the CLNS group of podcasts. You can download and subscribe, certainly to Patriots Press Pass, to get great Patriots content all week long. Tonight, of course, though, it's you guys at Patriot Nation Podcast, Pat Lane, here with my guy, Matt St. Jean. And Matt, well, if the Patriots don't win this week, I'm going to be very scared.
Yeah, it's in terms of where we are in the season, it's too early to say a must-win game, and you never want to go into Miami with that being a must-win game, given this team's track record there. But the Miami team that we saw last week, combined with the Miami team that you see on the injury report right now, well, I mean, the Patriots are the better team. They got the better players, they got the better coaches. Based on how they played last week, they have the better quarterback. Barring some kind of insane bounce back performance from Miami where their offense turns a switch and they go for 45 points and Tua finds his groove again, and we find out last week was an aberration, you can't lose this game.
No, and they had a players-only meeting. A players-only meeting. After week one, they're in turmoil, and Mike McDaniel is on his way out. Like, I don't think he's going to last the season. No. This cannot be a situation. I saw some people kind of draw some comparisons to Jacksonville. Was that last year with Jacksonville, right? With Doug Peterson and everyone was getting fired, and then and they ran it like 97 straight times against the Patriots and killed them. That can't happen. That cannot happen this week against a bad Miami team. And again, a Miami team that's infighting, that hates each other, that doesn't want to play for their coach. You cannot lose this game.
Well, and I think most importantly, the Dolphins just don't really have good players right now.
Right.
Tyreek Hill basically has not had a great game since week one of last year. So it's a full season where he has been not Tyreek Hill. Jalen Waddle's a good player. Tua was abysmal last week. Their offensive line is not good and banged up. So guys who played last week, I think, are not even going to be playing this week. It's going to be a worse group on the offensive line. And then it's also clear when I say all of this, the offense is by far the better unit right now.
Right.
The defense did not get off the field. We're entering week two. Miami's defense has yet to force a punt. They were abysmal. Indy had the ball for like 40 minutes last week.
Yeah.
They cannot get off the field. They have no talent in the corner room. I mean, it's Jack Jones, our old friend, being the best guy in that room right now. And he is a depth piece for them, and he's going to be playing up because other guys are hurt. If you can't throw on them, you got issues.
Well, and that's really what it comes down to, right? And this is one of those things that I just, oh man, it's it's Daniel Jones. It was Daniel Jones last week. Like, it's not like it was Patrick Mahomes, and wow, Patrick Mahomes hasn't been great it's Patrick Mahomes, right? We're talking about Daniel flipping Jones. It just that can't happen. And so let's hope that's not the case. We have Nikhil checking in, saying that we make his nights better every time we're on, which we appreciate you. Appreciate you, Nikhil.
I love. Can you throw that back up there? Yeah, I love the Drake and Josh profile.
I love it. Drake and Josh, episode 2, the Miami curse. Let's hope that that doesn't continue.
Yeah,
but it's one of those situations for me that I feel like, as you said, I think the Patriots are the better team, kind of all around. I feel better about the Patriots coaching staff than I do about Miami's right now. And I just think that they're in position to win this game. What's interesting to me is that the Dolphins are still favored to win. Vegas still has the Dolphins favored to win. So it's not like Vegas is pretty smart now, right? So I know that there's a lot of things going into it that, the Patriots have historically struggled in Miami and that Miami's not going to play 2 terrible games in a row, you would think. So it's all of those things combined, but still, that gives me a little bit of pause to think like, oh God, like the Patriots are underdogs this week. Like that's not ideal. But we'll see, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, I think if you want to make the case for Miami in this game, and you look back at what happened last week, you could make the argument that a lot of it is just game script. Indy goes down, almost a 5-minute drive to take the lead to start the game. Then Tua throws a pick 5 plays into that next drive. So right away, Tua's turning the ball over.
Mm-hmm.
Then takes 8 minutes off the clock on a touchdown drive after the pick. So
Right.
by the time Miami is getting the ball for the second time in the season, they're down 10-0 and it's already the second quarter.
Right.
That ends in 2 plays. Episode ends in 2 plays and a fumble. And then Indy drives down again and scores another touchdown. And now it's 17-0. And
the wheels are off.
You're already in a hole.
Yeah.
And then when Miami gets the ball back, they move it a little bit and then punt, and they don't get the ball back again in the first half. You have 3 possessions in the first half. You go into halftime down 20-0. That's kind of the ball game right there.
Right.
Miami's offense did run the ball okay. We're decently efficient at it, even with an awful offensive line. Problem is that once you're down 17-0, 20-0, you can't run the ball. You have to throw.
Right.
And with this offensive line, with Tua, and with what that receiving core has become, they're just not able to do that the way they were able to do it a couple of years ago. And, things just totally fell apart for them. So I think if you're Miami right now, you're saying if we start better, we can run the ball more, now we can look like a respectable team. So I think goal number 1, if you're New England here, is defensively, force turnovers, create havoc, and don't let Tua get comfortable. Don't let that offense get into any kind of rhythm and keep them in the state they were in Indy.
Yeah. No, and I agree 100% about that. And I almost wonder if this is a situation where you take the ball to start the game to try to, get down the field and, impose your will on them, right? I probably still wouldn't do that. But again, if you're able to drive down, take some time off the clock and go up 7-0, Miami might just look at it and say, oh, not again. And, that could be it. So, but, we'll see. I suppose we'll see how it goes. The Patriots are a little bit banged up. Harold Landry was back at practice today. Matter of fact, Harold Landry and Morgan Moses were both back at practice today. Keon White was out. No idea what happened to Keon White. Not sure when he got hurt. No clue. Gonzo still not out there. And there's no sign of him coming back. Like, it's not like, oh, he's like starting to practice. No, he's not. He hasn't even began to practice yet. And so I'm thinking he might be out the first month of the season. And honestly, I don't necessarily hate that. Obviously, I want him out there. The issue for me is that he cannot get hurt again. But this is the problem. So he's an elite corner when he's on the field. Elite corner when he's on the field. The problem is this is the 3rd consecutive year that he hasn't been on the field for a consistent amount of time.
Did he miss time last year?
He didn't. He missed. I think he only missed a game last year. He may have only missed a game last year. But I'm almost positive he missed time last year. Maybe I'm wrong about that. I could have sworn though that he missed a game last year. Maybe I'm wrong.
No, he played 16 games. Yeah, so he missed 1.
So he missed 1.
Was the game he missed? Was it week? Oh, it was the final game against the Bills. They shut him down. So he was healthy for every game last year.
Yeah,
but he missed almost the full year the year before that.
Right, correct. But I'm just concerned. I'm concerned. Maybe he was banged up a little bit in the preseason last year. I don't remember. I know that he was banged up at some point last year. Maybe he just played through it. I don't know.
And even if he was fully healthy last year, that is still 2 issues. two issues here, and it's it's a hamstring for him.
Yep.
Those are notorious for being difficult to manage.
Mm-hmm.
It's an injury where guys can come back in a week or two, or guys might come back months later, and you don't really know until you start going through that recovery process. Obviously, things have not gone well for him. Maybe he shows up at practice tomorrow and is able to play. That's the tough thing, is that we just have, from the outside, we have zero clue how close he is. The fact that they didn't put him on injured reserve tells you that they probably assume that he'll be able to go in the first month of the season.
Right.
But that's he can probably go. So maybe he's back next week. Maybe he's not back till October. No one knows, and I wouldn't be surprised if they internally aren't sure right now, just based on what they've said.
And that might be true too, that they're just not sure how he's going to respond. And what concerns me is that this offseason is the offseason he can get paid. If he can't stay healthy this year, I don't see how you can possibly extend him. I don't see how you can possibly do that.
But with the way he plays, how can you not?
And that's the hard part, right? But okay, he's played that way. He's played 20 games so far in his career. That's it. So, now we'll see how many he plays. But, that's anyways, it's a concern for me. And listen, I think that Gonzo and Deshaun kind of says, that can't be the main excuse why the defense performed the way they did. I agree. I think you have a good second corner. You don't have a bunch of scrubs at depth at corner anymore. Like, I think Carlton Davis is a legit cornerback. Now, he's not a cornerback one, but he's good enough to step in and be serviceable as a cornerback one if you need him. So for me, okay, fine, you have him. But then Alex Austin has shown quite a bit. And I was surprised they cut DJ James, to be honest with you, especially with Gonzo still hurt. That made no sense to me.
I think it's because whoever that last corner is going to have to play a lot of special teams. And I'm forgetting the name of the guy that they just brought in, but he immediately became a core special teamer for them. And I think they're just like, we'd rather have him on the roster. And
it's a fair point, but they don't even have 53 guys in the active roster right now. Anyways, it's bizarre.
We did say coming out of camp, we don't think there's 53 guys worthy of being on the roster. So, a lot of shuffling, I think, is to be expected. I just didn't think James was going to be a part of that shuffling, but he also barely played Sunday. Right.
It's not like they're losing some core depth piece or something like that. But one guy goes down, and now all of a sudden you're looking at saying, "Oh God, who's our next guy up at corner?"
Yeah.
That's what I don't know.
If we're talking about the defense, because I've done my film review now.
Yes.
We are talking about the secondary as an issue. The pass yards that they gave up on Sunday, I feel like by and large were not necessarily on the secondary. They were on the front seven because they blitzed a ton and the blitzes didn't get home. When the blitzes don't get home, you put your secondary in a tough position. I think the primary example of that, it's going to be the touchdown you give up on the first possession. The reason why Trey Tucker gets so open beyond Jalen Hawkins is that Hawkins is basically betting on that play. He's assuming that they're going to get some kind of pressure, and he's assuming that Tucker is going to have to break his route off at the sticks because of that, and he aggressively plays that. The pressure doesn't get home. Chino sees how he plays it and floats it, and easy touchdown. You just get beat on it. And Hawkins was flying. Watching back the tape, I think my favorite play of the game might be the sack that Jalen Hawkins had, because that's just as pure of a hit as you're going to get on a quarterback as a DB.
I don't think he played that poorly. I mean, I know he had really bad PFF grades, but he gets beat for a long play and a touchdown. And as you say, look, if you're watching the Packers game right now, the Packers Commanders game, they said this about the Packers the first week too, because they played. Did they play on Thursday? What night did they play? They played Friday night against the Chiefs, right? Was they played? I don't know. It doesn't matter. When the hell did they play? The Packers.
The Packers. They played on Sunday against the Lions. 4 o'clock.
Sunday against the Lions. Okay, so I was at the 4 o'clock game, right? I was watching the game, and they were talking about. They just continuously talked about this is what happened. They're playing the fact that they look at it and say, "We know." you have to throw that pass quickly because we can get our pressure in there. We know pressure is coming. So you are going to have to get rid of the ball. So we're sitting on the route waiting for you to throw that comeback route, anticipating that you have to throw it quickly. So I don't even care about the deep ball because you're not going to throw it deep. That is exactly the situation you described with Jalen Hawkins, right? He's in this situation saying, I have to assume that pressure's going to get there. I'm going to jump this route and try to knock it down. The other part of that is that if your plan is to leave Jalen Hawkins one-on-one running deep with Trey Tucker, you're going to lose that 1,000 times out of 1,000. It's just not, he's the fastest guy on the field against the safety. It's just, it doesn't make any sense. And so, he has to play it the way he plays it. Pressure doesn't get home, and he gets sacked. I thought he scores a touchdown. I'm sorry. I thought the one-on-one wins were lacking from the front seven. I thought Harold Landry did a really nice job. Milton Williams is a beast. Outside of those two guys, I thought there was not enough one-on-one. I mean, Keon White was invisible again. I thought Caleb Von Chasen was just fine, but nothing special.
Chasen, I thought, was a really good edge rusher for like the blitz situations. I thought he did well generally, like when he got to add on to the rush.
Okay,
but as like a 4-down guy, just not enough pressure.
And I look at it and say, okay, if we're going to get one-on-one matchups on the outside, who can win the one-on-one matchup? Right? Like my defensive lineman is getting a one-on-one matchup against an offensive lineman. Who can win that? I'm confident that Milton Williams can win it. I feel like Harold Landry showed quite a bit of being able to win it. Christian Barmore should be able to win it. He wasn't on Sunday, but he should be able to win those one-on-one matchups. Barmore at times was okay, but rushing the passer was almost invisible. And then Caleb and Chasen, it's like the same thing. I'm looking at it saying like, okay, like he's good, but I don't,
I think this conversation right here is why I wanted the team to draft an edge higher than they took one in the draft. This is why I was upset about the second round pick, because I wanted someone with some juice to add to this lineup. I was like, Harold Landry played way better than I expected him to as a rusher. His agility when they have games on the line with the two defensive tackles was incredible. I also say this game here against Miami, I'm less worried about the edge rush because they get the ball out quick. If you want to generate pressure, it's got to come from the defensive tackles. So long term, I think this is something to be concerned about for the team for week 2. Think of Barmore, Milton Williams. I think Kairos Tonga was great. That rotation and Farmer had a couple nice rushes too. If that group of 4 can get some pressure on the interior, I think they can be okay. And Landry and Chasen can be fine on the outside. I don't know what's going on with Keon White. I mean, he looks like just a guy out there, which this was kind of always my concern with him. He's just not good enough to rush from the edge. But if you have him rush from the inside, he can't defend the run at all. So where do you put him on the field?
He's a guy that had a ton of, he to me, at least, he is a guy that everyone hyped up in Patriots Nation. Everyone wanted him to be the next great thing. And he has some flashes on tape where you're like, oh my God, this guy's a freak. He looks like a freak. He doesn't play like one. And I think we're at the point right now, he's on his 3rd coach. I think we're at the point right now where we can look at it and say, he's just not that good. He's fine, but he's just simply not that good. And
I'm not there yet just because it's week 1. I want to see. Right. And Chasen's not great. He's fine.
Right.
But he's like Keon White will continue to get opportunities to prove himself this year. And one of the issues with him, like his best games have come at the beginning of seasons the last couple of years. So that's one of the reasons I think he's gotten that hype, because it's week 1, week 2, week 3. Oh, Keon White made a splash play.
Right.
And it just doesn't happen again. Hopefully we can get that guy back, because those splash plays are nice. He's long and he's very strong.
It's true.
He's just not the most explosive, and he is unable to translate that strength into any kind of like anchor in the running game, or like his hand usage isn't good. So the fact that he's strong and his arms are long just gets negated way too often because he loses reps immediately. And then the second that initial burst and push is gone, you've negated him. He doesn't do anything else. So hopefully, a couple more weeks here helps. That said, now you've lost your defensive coordinator now for a health issue for the second time this year. And I mean, I feel awful for Terrell Williams. Hopefully he's okay. But that just puts you in a tough spot here, coaching wise, play calling wise, because it's going to be presumably a first time play caller calling. Is it going to be Zach Kerr calling?
I would assume. It seems like it's going to be Kerr taking over.
And it's like, all right, well, it's going to be a first time defensive play caller against the Mike McDaniel's offense. This is one of those things where, the worry situation if you're New England is first time play caller against if there's one thing Mike McDaniel is good at, it's the play calling.
Right.
If you go out there, Miami gets the ball first, they score a touchdown on the first drive. Offense can't score, and Miami's able to score. And now we're doing the reverse of that Colts game where Miami's able to get up, 10-0 early. Now you're in the opposite position where they can run the ball and they can get into their diverse stuff.
Right.
And things are a lot tougher. So I do think winning the early part of this game is important. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Zach Kerr to, call the right plays for you.
I wholeheartedly agree with you. And that's one of those things where you just have to, you have to win. You have to win early and, and score early, stop them early. And if we can get things rolling and we get that 10 to 14 point lead early, they might just turtle and go away, But as you say, on the flip side of it, you have a horrendous game last week. If they're able to get some points on you and start feeling good about themselves offensively and defensively, now all of a sudden it's no one believed in us. We can still do it. We're still good enough, blah, 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 all that stuff. And then it turns into, no, we're winning this game. And that's the biggest concern that I have, Yeah.
All right. Do we want to switch over and talk about the Patriots offense in a second?
Let's do an ad break first, and then we'll talk about the Patriots offense.
All right.
So this ad break, of course, is for Prize Picks. Prize Picks is the best place to take your sports knowledge and win some money. Right? We'll play some fantasy football, or some fantasy football or baseball or women's basketball. You do all sorts of things. Last week, I actually was 1 for 1 last week. I, of course, lost on Sunday, but I was 1 for 1 last week, which is pretty cool. Kind of nice. For a second week in a row, they're giving you a free square. The second week in a row. Last week, they gave you a free square. This week, they're giving you a free square with Travis Kelce. Okay? Take the Travis Kelce. Okay? I'm also going with, for me at least, I'm taking the Travis Kelce. I'm also going with my guy, Kayshon Boutte, for more than 39.5 receiving yards. And I'm going with Derrick Henry for more than 94.5 rushing yards because Grant Delpit's over there talking crap in Cleveland, and come on, that's just seems like a recipe for disaster for the Browns. But here's what you're gonna do. For you just pick more or less on 2 to 6 players, stat projections, and if you get your picks right, you can cash in. And again, as I said, you can mix and match. You can put together football and baseball. You can put together, there's always esports going on. Put together a whole bunch of different sports, which is really cool. On Fridays, they have a flex play. You opt into the flex play, and that pick is protected for you. And you get that pick back in lineup money. Additionally, they offer Venmo, MasterCard, Apple Pay for quick and easy withdrawals and deposits. So what you're going to do, download the app Prize Picks, put in the promo code CLNS. You're going to get $50 in lineups when you play your first $5 lineup. Again, that's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks. It's good to be right. All right. So let's get into the Patriots offense. Man, I will tell you, I don't know how you feel about this, Matt. I thought Will Campbell played okay on Sunday.
I agree. I think watch him at the tape. I think he may have been their best lineman. He was definitely one of their two best linemen.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, he played well. And again, it wasn't perfect, right? Like your guy Armand Membu on the right side for the Jets, who was phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
You know what's interesting? Let's go to alternate universe for a second, right? Let's just go to alternate universe for a second. I was thinking about this on Monday. Let's say the Patriots had convinced Ronnie Stanley. Let's say they had convinced Ronnie Stanley to come and take $30 million a year to play left tackle for the Patriots.
Mm-hmm.
They signed into this monstrous extension. You have your left tackle now. Do the Patriots draft Membu at 4 to be their right tackle?
I would hope so, yeah.
And then your offensive line is set for the next 10 years.
Well, at least
maybe not 10 because he's a little bit older, but not that much older. But
but your tackle spots are set for the next 3 years. How I would say that.
Right.
My biggest concern with this Patriots offensive line is the guard play. I thought Jared Wilson wasn't very good, which I'm not gonna dump on him. He's a 3rd-round rookie. He's raw. He's someone who many considered kind of a draft and stash guy for next year. And he's learning on the job. But he wasn't very good. He's inconsistent as a pass blocker, to be kind. And as a run blocker, you see the tools, but what's clear is that the guys just don't know how to play together yet. The combo blocks are not there. They're not one of the big issues is that when you had a combo block where the center and the guard and the tackle are working together, where they block a defensive tackle, and then based on kind of who wins the rep, one of the two linemen will move to the second level and block the linebacker once you've pushed the defensive tackle back. And too many times on Sunday, the guys just were not on the same page about which guy is supposed to advance to the next level, or they just didn't win the block well enough to allow someone to get to the second level. And that's why the running game struggled, because linebackers were able to be aggressive and fill stuff. I will say the other issue with it, Garrett Bradbury, if I had a good game for Garrett Bradbury, especially in pass protection. The other issue for the line, the Raiders had a lot of very quick stunts. So they call them run game stunts. So it basically means the defensive tackle is going to line up between the center and the guard, and then the second that the ball is snapped, he's going to dive into the gap between the guard and the tackle and try to take away any run there. So you're not pass rushing out of it, but you're just switching which gap you're in to try to confuse the offensive line. And they were very quick about it. And the Patriots had no good way to respond to it. One of the first, I think it's the first Jack Westover play. Mm-hmm. No, either Westover. No, sorry. There's a play where they run and it's supposed to be it's called a wham. So
yes. Yeah.
They don't. The goal is you don't block the defensive tackle. The center who's over the defensive tackle lets him go by, and the center goes and blocks the linebacker behind him. And then the defensive tackle thinks they're just letting me go. I'm going to go make a tackle. And the tight end comes out of nowhere, hits him from the side, and pushes him out of the running lane. The problem was that Bradbury's all right, I'm going to go to the left of the defensive tackle and go get the linebacker. But the defensive tackle just shoots right into that gap. So now Bradbury is blocking the guy he's supposed to let free. And now Hunter Henry's running in with no one to block. And now the linebacker is unblocked. And he goes for no gain.
Right.
And that was first or second possession. And it was a lot of that. So you got to get that cleaned up. The sooner the better.
It was really interesting. Someone posted, and I don't know who it was that posted the clip, but someone posted a clip. It might have been Taylor, but I don't think it was. I forget. It doesn't matter who it was. Someone posted a clip saying, the Patriots might be looking for fullback / tight end help. And David Andrews replied to it and said, well, this is actually on the center. If I were doing this, I would have done this differently. And I was just it was cool to see Andrews kind of talk about it that way and kind of give a little bit of insight into what it should look like from the center. So we'll see. Listen, the offensive line has to be better. I think that they weren't atrocious, but they certainly weren't what you need them to be. And I think that last year they were 31, 32. And we've kind of talked about this all summer. Like, if they can get into that late teens, early 20s, you feel pretty good about where they're at. If they
they're
can
in the 20s after where they were last year, I'm thrilled.
Well, maybe in the low 20s. I don't know if I feel good about them if they're 29, but
look, the step up from the last to like 27th is pretty significant.
That's
so
true.
Just like
That is true.
Even doing that,
yeah.
Oh, and I thought if this is the pass protection you get all year, you can run an offense.
Mm-hmm.
It's not going to be pretty. There's going to be a lot of bad moments, but you can run an offense. The problem right now is the run blocking is not good enough to run the offense they want to run. That has to change in a hurry. Miami has a bad defensive line and guys hurt on the defensive line. So hopefully you can bully some guys. The guy I'm the most concerned about, I think, on the line right now is Michael Onwenu, who had some losses in pass protection and a lack of push in the running game. And I wonder if that's the guy who looked good because he was the only offensive lineman who was good a couple of years ago. And it's like, all right, now he's just not. Now he has some more talent around him. It's clear that he's just okay.
Right.
So that concerns me. I don't know when you want to get into the Drake May of it all.
Well, I think that this is the time to do it. I think Drake May, at this point, this is kind of where we have to go because he has to be better. He has to be better. It's early. I know he's young. I get it. At a certain point, we got to stop making excuses for him, and he's just got to play better. And, that's just not – it's air-milling throws. It's missing reads. It's not seeing a guy wide open. It's those things that cannot happen. I do think that he's still learning. I think that I do believe that he's going to get better. And I still see some of the flashes, some of the great plays and the great throws, but we have to be able to see more of it. And we did not see enough of it on Sunday. And if that doesn't improve, the Patriots are never going to get where they want to go. Yeah.
When I think to me the biggest, the key sequence from the game on Sunday, where I was like, this is a little bit rough. After the Raiders score, they go up 14-10 early in the second half. Daniel Carlson whiffs on the kick. You get the ball at the 40-yard line.
Yep.
You have to take advantage of it. First play, Drake May has Hunter Henry sitting wide open and airmails the throw. He's on time. His footwork is, generally the way you want it to be. He just misses the throw. Now you're in 2nd and 10. This is the one, if you remember the play, where he checks it down to Trevion Henderson and he gets smoked immediately and loses a yard.
Yes.
And you watch it back and it's easy to see why this happened. So the play is designed to be a fake screen, basically, where Henderson's out there to draw the defender up. Stephon Diggs is in the slot and kind of fakes like he's going to block, and then he takes off deep. And he's going to be open deep, I'm pretty sure. But Ramondre Stevenson whiffs on a blocking assignment. You get a free rusher, and May just has to try to get the ball out. Right. I will say, this is one of the big differences between Geno Smith and Drake May in this game. Because Geno Smith in this game, even if he has a free rusher, is hitting the deep throw anyway. He's making that decision. He's putting the ball where it needs to be, and it's a completion for the most part. May is checking it down to the guy who doesn't have a blocker and gets smoked. Right. And then by then, it's 3rd and 11. And no one gets open, and you're punting. And the punt after that wasn't very good either. It what do you call it? It's downed at the 20. So you can't pin them inside the 20 on a punt where you're starting at your own 40.
Right.
You got to pin them deeper and sequence. They had 2 possessions where they're starting with very good field position and they don't come away with points, in part because of some bad throws by May, and it's just that needs to be cleaned up.
Yeah.
There is also another play where I want to throw a theory out here to defend May, possibly.
Mm-hmm.
The initial 3rd down, where he throws it over the head of Pop Douglas on the out route.
Yep.
When I watch it back, Pop Douglas gets a late start off the line of scrimmage. He's a second slow compared to everyone else. And that looks like a timing route. And Pop ends up running the route like a yard or maybe even 2 yards short of the sticks. And I look at that and I say, I feel like he should be at the sticks
you would
when
think.
he's breaking. And when you see May, he drops back, and when he hits the top of his drop, Pop should be breaking at the sticks, but he's breaking 2 yards short. And you can see May kind of like shuffle and try to place it. And you still got to put that ball on him and give him a chance. It's a bad throw. I do think the timing may have been thrown off there by Pop. And then it's also possible that this was designed to run it short of the sticks to try to get a completion and let him do something after the catch. But to me, it was like this might be multiple factors in this.
Yeah, and listen, it's not any one thing necessarily. It's not all bad.
Yeah.
But again, the hard part for me, and so the other part of it is that part of what makes Drake May great, and that's not true. Part of what could make Drake May great is his ability to run the ball. And I understand that they want him to be able to survive the season and not take unnecessary hits. I get it. I totally get it. I understand that. I don't care. I simply don't care. You have to let him be who he is. And so there were plays where he doesn't make a throw because maybe the guy's not open, maybe he doesn't have the confidence that he's going to be able to get it to him. And instead he takes off running, but then he slides after a yard. And so it's like, well, that's a complete waste of a play. If you're going to slide after a yard, it's not worth even running. And that's the real issue. And I understand that I don't want him to get hurt. I agree with that. And I'm happy that he can slide now. That's a great thing because I don't want him to be taking unnecessary shots. However, part of what makes him who he is that he has to be able to run the football. Yeah. And he has to be able to do some of that crazy stuff every time, every now and again. And to not allow him to do that at all, that's not who he is. And so they have to give him some of that flexibility to be who he is at some point.
Yeah. I will say watch him at the tape. They did give him 2 potential designed runs that were option plays that he ends up pitching. Mm-hmm. There was one, if I get my notes here, that I didn't like watching it in live time at first. I didn't really think, oh yeah, there's a run near the end of the first quarter. Trevian Henderson has like a 7-yard run on the touchdown drive. Didn't think much of it at the time. You watch it back, it's triple option. It's triple option with 2 running backs. So they've got Antonio Gibson, and Gibson is running basically the shovel pass option to the inside. Trevian Henderson has the pitch to the outside, and May can also run with it if he wants. So I think they gave him some opportunities, and the QB run wasn't there because I think he made the right read. Part of it's also this, like that Raiders defense played better than I expected, and it was all zone. Like it was clear their strategy was, we're not going to let you throw deep, we're not going to let you run. You're going to have to beat us with short and intermediate passes, and you add in 1 pressure that leads to a pick, and probably 2 or 3 bad throws that kind of cost you drives. And like, that's the ball game. If you want to play against them, you have to string together plays, which you look ahead here to Miami. Let's look at how the Colts were able to drive in this game. Their touchdown drives, or their drives in general. They've got a 9-play scoring drive, a 14-play scoring drive, a 17-play scoring drive, a 15-play scoring drive. Their shorter ones are like 7-play drives, and then there's the 1 5-play drive. The Colts beat the Dolphins defense by stringing together good play after good play after good play. Now, obviously, Daniel Jones was able to do that.
Right.
You expect Drake May to be able to do that against a defense that's as bad as his Dolphins one was last week, especially because you should have the added help of a better running game. Yes. You have to actually do it, though.
Right. And that's the thing, you know. Execute on the field. Just execute on the field when you're out there. You have to be able to execute.
Opportunities.
You know, and that's what it comes down to. And if you can't execute, then forget it. You know, it's unfortunately all over if you can't do that. So, so we'll see. We'll see. I'm confident. I'm fairly confident in the Patriots. Matter of fact, I'm so confident in the Patriots that I have 3 knockout pools, and I have them in 2 of them, which I don't love, but I do also get a mulligan in the first 2 weeks. One of the guys offers a mulligan, so if you get one of the first 2 weeks wrong, you're back in. So I was like, you know what? This is the perfect time to pick the Patriots because I'm never going to pick them again. I hate picking the Patriots in knockout, but I'm like, well, this is a good spot, and if I lose, at least I get the mulligan back. So you know, we'll see. But yeah, it's, you know, I just think that they should win this game. Miami's reeling; they're a mess, and this should be a win for the Patriots. And again, I think it can be a springboard into better things, right? And I think that, you know, the problem that I have, and you know, TD, I know, is a huge Drake May guy, and look, Drake developed bad habits last year. He did. He developed some bad habits last year, but he also had bad habits when he was in North Carolina.
Yeah.
Part of the problem is that he's always been the guy. He hasn't had anything around him. He's just had to do everything himself. He's never had a real offensive line ahead of him. You know, he had Omari Hampton was a good running back. I don't know how good he was the year before he came out. He was good, but not like amazing.
He was clearly the best player in that offense that wasn't Drake May, but that was also partially about who else they had.
Well, and that's the thing, because Josh Downs leaves before May's last year, and it's like then he has no receivers at all. And so, you know, May was kind of trying to do it all by himself, and then last year was a mess. Yeah. And so you're saying, okay, let's try to rebuild him back from the ground up, strip it all down, and then rebuild him back up. But I don't know. I again, there's the hard thing with Drake May is the potential is so huge. I think he has the potential to be a top 5 quarterback in the NFL. I see some of the things he does, Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes do. And you're looking at saying, there's not many guys in the league that can do what he does, the creativity and the throws that he makes and the audacity sometimes that he throws with. But then other times, like, we just can't do it consistently. And
you got to throw the ball better.
Yeah, and maybe he'll get better at that, right? But maybe he won't. And that's the question. If he can get better at that, if he can significantly improve where he is right now, then he's going to be incredible.
Yeah.
But there's a long way to go between where Drake is right now and incredible. And so, you know, I don't know how anyone can be overly confident he's going to get there. I'm hopeful he'll get there. But I don't know how anyone can be overly confident that he's going to get there.
Well, I thought he played well last year, especially given the circumstances.
Yeah.
This year is different. Like, this is the biggest mental load that Drake May has had to take on playing quarterback ever in his career. He's being asked to do more. So the ceiling on that is higher because more is in his control. And obviously everyone involved has the confidence he can pick it all up. It's not there yet. I think another ball call out ends up being a good play. The third down conversion on a slant to Stephon Diggs. Which is great throw. May gets smoked after getting rid of that ball. And you watch it back, and it's not on the offensive line. It's on Drake May because he called the protection wrong. He calls it to the wrong side. He calls the center to the right, and to the left of the center, you've got Max Crosby, I think, and Tyree Wilson lined up together over there. They put both defensive ends on the same side. And one of them just comes through completely free and unblocked because 3 guys rush from that side and the centers go in the other direction. So it's 3 on 2.
It's not ideal.
Yeah, and, you know, I think you can probably do a better job blocking that if you're the line. And you're always going to get fooled. You're never going to bat 1,000. Part of being good at football is the Patriots have had here for years. So when you have one negative play, they haven't been good enough to make up for it.
Right.
And obviously there you see the difference is that when he gets smoked, May's still able to hang in there, deliver an accurate ball, and move the chains, make the right read. Like he didn't do that enough on Sunday, but it's not like he isn't capable.
Right.
They just
Well,
what we're
that's
talking about. It's in terms of degrees. It's not about what he can or can't do. It's you gotta turn up the good meter and turn down the suck meter.
and that's you're right. And we'll see if he can do that, right? And
Yeah.
but look, I honestly think with May well, let's get into the weapons a little bit because we've talked about May. Receiving wise, I was incredibly impressed with Kayshon Boutte. I actually said you weren't on the show, but we had Austin Gale on. I said the Patriots' leading receiver on Sunday was going to be Kayshon Boutte. Bet it in 0 spots, put it in 0 lineups on Prize Picks because I'm an idiot. But I was like, I was confident that he was going to be the best receiver on Sunday, and he was. And I'm happy to see him finally taking that role. And I do think that Stephon Diggs getting some of that attention on the outside is really going to help Kayshon Boutte. Now, if Boutte continues doing this consistently, then you have to think that they're going to treat him like the number 1 wide receiver. However, you still then can say, all right, we'll go back to Stephon Diggs on the other side if that's the case. And I think that's, to me at least, that's how you can win if you have these guys. If Diggs continues, if his play continues to get better and Kayshon Boutte continues to get better, that's when you're looking at it saying like, all right, now we can really go somewhere with this team. And so, we'll see. But I'm cautiously optimistic. Pop Douglas is driving me completely insane. He's just driving me insane.
What's crazy, like when you watch just the like if we ignore what happens at the catch point and we ignore any of the mental stuff, the route running and the quickness, Pop looked good on tape. He was open on tape. It's just the hands aren't there consistently enough. Mental hasn't been there consistently enough. And maybe he just had a weird bad day to start the season. Like he did have the team's only touchdowns. I have a hard time saying he had a bad day. But he had a weird day.
And that was a great catch, by the way. A great route, a great throw, a great catch. Like,
they're concentration draws. He has these mental lapses. So it's just we're on like year 3 of this.
Somebody tweeted out, if I had bet Pop Douglas to go for over 1,000 yards this year, he would need 1,002 more yards for to hit that. I'm like, he had -2 yards receiving, which is hard to do when you catch a touchdown pass.
Weird stat line. And I think I want to give Pop a longer leash here.
Yeah.
I think the tape was good enough that I'm like, okay, I want to see a little bit more. Mac Hollins, I like some of the stuff, but I'm just like, he's just not dynamic at all. So, I think he should be part of the plan, but I would use Kyle Williams a little bit more. Their best run of the day came with Mac Hollins at fullback, which is pretty funny. That's how they set up that 4th down play. It's the same formation. So they run Mac Hollins as a fullback with him in the backfield out of the shotgun, and then the 4th down play where they chuck it deep. Hollins is also at fullback to go play action, try to suck up the defense, get him behind. I love it. It just didn't execute it well enough. Diggs, I'm not worried about. I thought he looked fine on tape. Yeah. It was a zone-heavy team, and it's pretty clear that May is just more comfortable throwing to other guys he's familiar with, so he didn't look Diggs' way as much. I think that has to change. I would like to go through Diggs a little bit more often. I would like to have more sets out there where Diggs is in the slot. You're going to have Boutte and Kyle Williams on the outside just to give him that over the middle. And I did see like May's favorite concept in the world is the shallow hitch with the dig behind it. So it's like a levels concept. And I think he hit it once. And after that, the Raiders basically sold out to take that away. And there were a couple of times where they went to it and it was not open. And the second May saw it wasn't open, he kind of freaked out. And that's like, all right, he can do 1 read, he can do 2 reads. When he has to look at like the other half of the field, that I think is where he was starting to get into trouble. I didn't see a lot from him where it was like, oh, he's like it doesn't seem like he's identifying a coverage and saying, this is the coverage they ran, so I know who I'm going to throw it to. It's, this is the route concept, and this is the guy I have to watch to know which one of these routes I'm going to throw. So it's just like we have to, expanding that, I think, is going to be the key to May's success.
Yeah. Yeah, and he's got a long way to go in that respect. But, I do think that hopefully he'll get there at some point, and that's the hope. And that to me, that's what this year is all about, is get him to that point. Get him, as you said, your first read's not open. Okay, get to your second. Second read's not open. Okay, get to your third. Don't panic. Get to your third read. Get to your fourth read. If it's still not there, then take off and try to pick up the first down. But, don't worry about it. Don't panic back there. Go through the progressions and then get the guy that you think is going to be open and go from there. By the way, Jaden Daniels, who was incredible last year, looks like garbage against Green Bay right now. Now, Green Bay is a phenomenal team. But he looks awful. He's missed wide open guys all over the place because he's not reading things correctly. And that's a guy who was a phenomenal player last year. And so, it's not all linear, right? You're going to learn as you go, and that's just the way things go. And so that's just the way it goes. And by the way, Chisholm isn't the answer. Chisholm is not the answer in slot. I'm sticking with Pop for a few more games. If we have to, in my opinion, and you already said it, in my opinion, if Pop isn't the answer in the slot, I'm putting Diggs in the slot, and I'm rolling with Booty and with Booty and Kyle Williams on the outside. That's what I'm doing if Pop doesn't work in the slot.
Yeah, but I think Chisholm could have a role in this team. But if your issue with Pop is one of the comments is that he's too short and too slow, after Chisholm is not going to help you one bit there.
Correct. Chisholm's probably an inch taller.
He's taller, but he's not faster.
That's definitely not faster.
Chisholm, I think, could be a useful player for this team. If things keep looking like this for Pop, I want to see Chisholm get some looks, especially if we're not winning games. Put Chisholm out there. I want to see what he looks like. Even Edelman didn't get real run at receiver until late in his rookie year when guys were getting banged up, and that 09 receiving core also had no depth to it. This group has better depth right now.
I agree. I agree.
No, I'm not. It's funny because we go back to week 1 last year and they won the game and we were all excited. And then I watched the tape. I was like, oh boy, this is not as repeatable as I thought. I had a little bit of the opposite here where it was okay, you got beat in this game primarily because one quarterback was experienced and could deliver in the heat of pressure, and the other guy isn't and couldn't. And that kind of ends up being the difference maker. And that's fun when Drake May is in his 13th start or whatever it was. So we'll see, we'll see where we're at in a month with him. I'm going to have plenty of patience there because we've already seen he can do some of this stuff. It's just new offense. It might take a little bit of time. He doesn't get all year. You want to see this happen during the season. This isn't. Well, hopefully he can do it next year thing. But
yeah. But that's But again, that's the hope. Is that the big thing for this year? Is how much better can you get? That's the real question. Is how much better can you get? Is Drake May going to be able to? Are you going to be able to see that from Drake May, where you see? All right, I feel good about the situation that we're in. I feel good about the fact that I think he can develop into an elite level quarterback. Yeah, we feel that way right now because we can see the potential. But we haven't actually seen the product on the field yet to believe that. And so, can we get there by the end of the year? That's the hope. But we'll see.
Yeah.
Anyways, do you want to talk a little bit? Just talk a little bit around the league. But before we do, we're going to just chat about something really quick.
Okay.
Unless you have another note on the Patriots, another note on the Patriots or anything like that.
No.
Okay. So just quickly, as you guys know, today for another hour is September 11th. Boston is actually joining the 9/11 Memorial and Museum's Tribute in Light, which was born in New York as the twin blue beams over Lower Manhattan. Starting at dusk today, landmarks across Boston and Cambridge are glowing blue, from City Hall, Fenway Park, Prudential Center, Zakim Bridge, the Hub on Causeway, Berkeley Performance Center, and more. The tribute's now in its second year, was spearheaded by our friends at Gupta Media in Boston. If you can, take a minute to step outside, look up, and remember the lives lost and all who were forever changed. Boston does remember, and I'll tell you, I remember I was a senior in high school when 9/11 happened, and it was surreal. I was talking to my juniors about this today, and they're a year younger than I was at the time, but basically the same age that I was, and going through that in real time with your classmates. And I feel like it's so different than it is now. Now it's the social media everywhere, and you're talking about it nonstop. And at that point, it was just, it happened, and then we all just sat in front of the TV and watched all day. And it was just the news. There was nothing else. And they canceled the after school stuff. And it was scary. And we didn't know what was coming. We didn't know if there was more coming. We didn't know all the stuff. And so it was a wild time. It was a really scary time. I will say, I wouldn't say the good part about 9/11, but one of the things about 9/11 that I think really showed was the compassion that people had, the humanity that people had. You hear stories like, Come From Away, which is about Newfoundland, and the people that they, took into their island and took care of when they were there. And you hear about all the people that went to New York and went to, DC and did all of these things. And
what's it Mr. Rogers always say, look for the helpers.
Yes. And I think that, you saw so many of those people after the fact, after something like that happened. And it was this great galvanization of the country together. We banded together, and really kind of the world banded around us. And we could show you some of that right now. I'll tell you that much. But nevertheless, that was, when I think about it, I think about the Domino's lab I was doing in physics class when I found out about it. But that's kind of the next thing I think about, is all those people that were helping out after the fact. So
yeah, Wells Crowther, the Boston College guy, helping people.
What a story! Oh my God, man! Yeah. If you haven't seen that 30 for 30 on ESPN, like, you have to watch it. It's incredible. The story of him, helping people and then running back up and then helping more people and then running back. I mean, it's insane. It's unbelievable. And so, again, those are the things that give you hope for the future. And you hope that I don't know. I feel like we don't learn from anything, but you hope that we learn from some of it, and we can go from there. So, anyways, let's get back to football. Just kind of quickly around the league. Our guy Mac Jones, back in business. We're back in business. Kyle Shanahan allegedly, Kyle Shanahan wanted him all along, supposedly, at the number 3 pick when they traded 17 first-round picks to go up and get him. Oh, God. Austin Eckler just tore his Achilles. That's not good.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's terrible. Yeah. Anyways, they traded a bunch of first-round picks. Then they didn't know who they were going to take. Then they took Trey Lance because he had the high, quote-unquote, higher ceiling. That didn't work out. Now he finally has Mac Jones. Brock Purdy's out. They said 2 to 5 weeks, so who knows what's going to happen there. But Mac Jones taking over. Kendrick Bourne in the wide receiver room for him. That's going to be really interesting.
They're back.
And everyone's hurt. Everyone's hurt. That team gets hurt every year, and I have no idea how they're going to survive.
Yeah. I think the biggest note I had, so when we logged off on Sunday night, we were talking about Buffalo losing that game, and they came roaring back.
The best game I've ever seen. Oh,
shout out Buffalo. That was incredible. What a performance there. And the Bills play the Jets this week, so big games going on in the AFC East. I look around the league right now, and it's like other than Miami being awful last week, Carolina wasn't good either. I kind of felt like everyone hung in there. No one had a performance. Like those were the two bad teams, and everyone else was like at least competitive.
And I think Carolina is going to be okay. I just think they played really poorly.
That was a weird game, so it's hard with a rain delay, so it's hard to draw. I'm not going to draw too many conclusions away from that. Pittsburgh looked better than I thought, and they come to New England in a week for a potential Lawyer Malloy situation here with Jabril Peppers.
Yeah,
there, which is not fun. Look at this Patriots schedule, and like this game, Miami should win. That game against Pittsburgh, I don't know how I feel about that with how they just looked.
right.
I don't know what to make of that performance. Carolina game at home, you really feel like you should win. So you would like to get out of September at 2-2. Out of that, after that, like at Buffalo, don't feel good about that right now.
No, I wouldn't.
At New Orleans and at Tennessee. Oh, the other team, Tennessee. Tennessee's Cam Ward looks okay. The rest of that offense is like the worst thing I've ever seen.
They're a mess. That team's a mess. And again, like you said, I thought Cam Ward played pretty well, but he just
8 drops.
Yeah, he's got no help.
When there was a play where Ward dropped back, and within like a second and a half, there were 5 guys in his face.
Yeah,
it's like, all right, they did block a single guy in a blitz. Like you can't do anything with that.
I hope, Alec is a local kid. I hope he does well over there. Calvin Ridley, I really thought was going to have kind of a bounce back year. He did not look good. Looked okay, but did not look good. And I think that that's one of those ones where you just kind of say, like, man, I wish, you're hoping for that back for him to be able to be good. So we'll see what happens. I just, if you're Tennessee right now, you can't be feeling great about where you're at after 1 week. But again, it's early. It's 1 week. But on the plus side, Cam Ward looked pretty good. So maybe you're not feeling as terrible as, as maybe some people would think you should be.
But I do think if the Patriots play the way they did this week, like I think those games against Miami, Carolina, Tennessee, I feel decent about. It just stinks that this Miami game's on the road, that New Orleans game's on the road, that Tennessee game is on the road. Then you look later out, like you get the Browns at home. I don't know what to make of Cleveland yet, but like Atlanta looked good, Tampa looked good, the Jets looked good. Bengals didn't look good, but like that Bengals-Browns game, I have no takeaways because both those teams are so strange.
Right.
I think the Giants looked a little bit better than I was expecting them to. So maybe Washington's just not that good. I can't tell.
Yeah.
Tonight pushes things more in that direction. That's for sure.
Yeah. But I don't know. We'll see what happens. I'm not sure. There's a lot of question mark, and this is one of those situations where, was it last year that Baltimore lost to Vegas in week 2? That, and it's just like, you're like, what? Like, what do you mean? They lost the Raiders? Like, the Raiders were terrible last year, and they just, this early in the season, a team catches lightning in a bottle for 1 week, and especially early in the year, you just never know, and I know the Patriots don't have good luck down in Miami, but anything can happen earlier in the season. So, we'll see. And so that's what makes this early in the year so difficult,
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff out there that's going to be fake. So we just don't know what it is yet.
That's correct.
Hopefully the Patriots pass blocking is true and the run blocking is fake and not the other way around.
That's what you're hoping. That's what you're hoping, at least. I was optimistic about the way things went. But I
felt better after watching the tape than I thought I would.
Yeah, and listen, the other thing I'll tell Patriots fans, don't chase the rabbit. Chasing the rabbit is something that whatever. It's a gambling term, but don't chase the rabbit on the draft, right? Like if Will Campbell's good, don't worry about how good Josh Simmons is. Don't worry about how good Armand Member was. Don't worry about any of that stuff. If Will Campbell's good, then we're okay. We're all right. If Will Campbell's terrible, then we're not all right. But if Will Campbell's good, then we don't have to feel terrible about where we're at, right? Don't worry about anyone else's team. Just focus on Will Campbell. of course you could have had someone else. If Will Campbell stinks, then sure. Then you can make that argument. But for right now, just be happy he looked good. He looked pretty good in his first game, and hope he gets better. And then go from there. That's all you can do.
Yep.
So, anyways, that's all I got. You got anything else?
No, we'll see you guys Sunday.
All right, cool. So we'll be back Sunday night, halftime of Sunday Night Football, as always. Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate you guys. Be good to each other and go back.